Hello people, welcome to my channel. Today we are learning about net present value. So what is net present value? Net present value is basically the difference between the market value of a project and its cost. Now, how much value is created from taking an investment? So the first step is to estimate the expected future cash flow. So cash flow is the income that we get from organization's business. The second step is to estimate the required return for project of the risk level. And then the third step is to find the present value of the cash flows and then subtract the initial investment. Basically, net present value is the net cash flows generated by a project, including the salvage value, if any, less the initial investment on the project. And why NPV is the most reliable one is because it accounts for time value of money by using discounted cash flows. Next, we'll see how to calculate NPV. And now when cash flows are even, let's just say the cash flow for the year 1 was 10 lakhs and cash flow for the year 2 is also 10 lakhs and it goes on moving at the same par, which basically means this cash flow for throughout the period of project is constant. In that case, this particular formula that we have will be helpful. Here, NPV is equal to R into 1 minus 1 plus I to the power minus N divided by I minus total investment. Here R represents the net cash inflow expected to be received each period. And I is the required rate of return per period. And N are the number of periods during which the project is expected to operate and generate cash inflows. Now since the cash flows are even, this formula will work. And what if the cash flows are uneven? For that we have another formula where cash flows can be uneven and still we can derive the NPV. What is uneven cash flows? Let's just say for the first year the cash flow is 10 lakhs. In the second year the cash flow is 17 lakhs. And in the third year the cash flow fell down to 8 lakhs. Now what do we derive from this? There is no proper pace at which the cash flow is increasing or decreasing. It is increasing randomly, decreasing randomly altogether. So in such cases this formula works the best. Here we can see the C1 in the formula above represents the cash flow in that particular year. Now C1 is cash flow in the first year, whereas C2 is the cash flow in the second year. And over there we have Cn. So Cn represents how it's the infinite value, where if you are calculating for maybe the 20th year of the project, then you can substitute Cn with C20 and derive the NPV. And K here represents the opportunity of the cost of capital. Opportunity cost of capital. And in C0, the one which we are subtracting there is the initial investment. If you see, even in the formula where cash flows are uneven, we are subtracting it with initial investment. Same goes here. C0 represents the initial investment and N represents the number of expected life of investment. Now comes to a decision rule. Now, just like other theories have a rule, NPV also has a rule of its own, where if the NPV is positive or zero, positive as in any number above 0 or 0, then NPV, then the project is accepted. Like if the NPV is positive, generally we accept the project. A positive NPV means that the project is expected to add value to the firm and it will therefore increase the wealth of the owners. And since increasing the wealth of the owners is our main goal, this project will meet our goal. And when do we not accept a project or when do we reject a project? When the NPV is negative, that is when the NPV goes beyond zero, that is when we reject the project. And note, when we are comparing two or more exclusive projects, let's just say we have a project A and project B, and the NPV for project A is 185, and NPV for project B is 230. In this case, we accept a project which has the highest NPV. Here in project A we had 185 and in project B we had 230. So which project do we choose? Obviously project B. And then we have pros and cons of NPV method. So one of the most important merit of NPV method is that it considers time value of money, which means it gives reliable information. It is practical, and the timings and the amounts of the cash flows also add better benefit in calculating the NPV, and obviously that is true measure of profitability. And then it adds value and it increases the shareholder value. And in the cons we have it considerably it is a little difficult in calculation, and sometimes the cash flow estimation may not be that true and it may not be that reliable as well. Then we have discounted rate, difficult to determine. Now let's go for an example. Here we have a little example of a new project where the estimated cash flows are given. So in the year 1, in year 0 as in the initial year, we have the cash flow which is 1,65,000, and then in the year 1 we have cash flow which is 63,120, and the net income is 13,620. So on it goes for year 2 and year 3, and then the book value is 72,000. Now we are required to calculate the return of assets on this risk level at 12%. Here NPV is 1,65,000. So we use since the cash flows are uneven, we use the formula which we used when we calculate cash flows when they are uneven. Now we are getting a value. Now the NPV is coming up to 12,627.41. So since it is positive, do we accept or do we reject the project? Since it is positive, we will accept the project. Hope you've got a very good understanding on NPV. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.